Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to teach you a technique that will help you tap into your creativity, build your trust with your intuition in order to become a better oracle card reader. Are you ready? Let's begin. So this is a technique that I surprisingly learned in college in a class about creativity and innovation. Shout out to Ed. This technique is called force connections. In this technique, you're presented with a question or a problem you have to solve and 2 or more images. And how it works, you have to take those images and force a connection between them in order to solve the problem at hand. This will train your problem-solving skills as well as your ability to think creatively on your feet. Over time, as you train this ability, you should be able to make these connections faster, and as a result, your readings will flow a lot easier as well. And since I learned this in college, backed by science, baby, this should help you in your daily life as well. I mean, we're always problem solving, right? This ability to problem solve and think creatively will follow with you. It's an ability that we're training. It's a skill that we're developing outside the need to read oracle cards. So to practice this, technically, we don't need oracle cards. You can just go onto Google, search some random images, and use that to practice. There's no need to spend any more money than you should. But today, let's work with the cards. If you're just starting, you can just take 2 cards and use that to practice. What connections or what stories can you make with these 2 images side by side? And as you get better and better, you can keep adding more cards in to get more practice and to become more efficient. So let's start with a 3-card spread. You can choose any deck. I recommend the decks that do have a lot of symbolism, a lot of symbols, imagery on them, rather than the ones that are text-based or they have one picture on it. So here's a 3-card spread. And let's say the question is about love. Why did this guy ghost me? And since we're using cards, we can apply the technique to a classic past, present, and future spread. So before connecting all of the cards together in one big picture, you can break it down, only connecting one card to the other. So here, connecting the past card to the present. The past card that we got here says courage, and the image is of a flower breaking through some rock. So maybe it took a lot for them to gather up the courage, the bravery in order to talk to you and to pursue you. And then here in the present, there's integration. I see that there's a rainbow, there's the yin-yang symbol representing balance of male and female. And also the Ouroboros symbol is here at the bottom of the card, representing unity, the destruction and rebirth of the universe. And finally, the last card that we have here is awareness. You can see a Buddha face burning through this veil with blue flames. Now, what could this all mean? Since the present card has the symbolism of Ouroboros, yin and yang, balance. There's a dove, there's a lotus flower, some sacred geometry, an eagle. There's lots of symbolism on this card here, but the key is to listen to your intuition in this case. What feels right for the question at hand? But if you're just practicing with yourself, I challenge you to try to make as many connections as you can in relation to the question. Do as many as you can in one spread in order to flex this ability, to strengthen it, so that when the time comes and you're reading for somebody else, You've really developed that ability to make as many connections as you can. And then when you're reading for someone else, you don't have to spend all that time breaking down each symbol. Your intuition will tell you, will show you which ones are most important that pertain to the question for your client. And also, if you plan on doing general card readings here on YouTube, you'll be able to make as many connections as you can and ideally resonate with a lot of people. So coming back to this 3-card spread, let me know what you see. Here with courage, breaking through the rock. That yes, a beautiful thing has grown in the past from this connection. But this connection was meant to happen, but also was meant to be destroyed. The yin and yang, darkness and light. And because it was meant to be, what you're supposed to take out of this relationship where you were ghosted, integrate that shadow aspect of yourself. Or rather than destroy, bring light to the darkness. What are some shadow aspects that came to light with this relationship? So yeah, let me know what you think. How would you interpret this? This is all for fun. And as we talked about before, as you get better at this, keep adding cards in order to practice the technique. And eventually you'll be able to tell a story with the cards in order to convey the message and understand which cards connect with one another. So here in a 5-card spread, we can tell a story. The first card is all about the question. What card represents the question? The second card representing the background of the situation. The third card, the inner influence. Fourth, the outer influence. And then finally, the answer or the solution at hand. Now let's say somebody isn't happy with their job and they're trying to figure out whether or not they want to quit and to pursue something else. First card here is politics. There's a mask, a snake, and this man's face seems green, perhaps green with envy. The second card representing the background, fighting. This person is wearing very sharp looking armor to protect themselves. And their hands are in fists in a fighting stance. The third card, participation. If you look really closely, it looks like people sitting together and their colors swirling into the center area. Next is compassion. Here we have an image of tree bark and also bamboo. And then finally, the Fool, the classic tarot major arcana card, the Fool with a man taking a leap of faith off a cliff. And if you're just beginning with this, it might be difficult to connect all of the cards together at once to form a bigger picture. But you might find it easier to do that at the end and instead work by breaking down each card or 2 cards connected before reading or summarizing the spread as a whole. So for example, here this is a 5-card spread. The first one representing the question coming out as politics. You can see a mask and a man smirking behind it, green, and also a snake. This could represent the workplace politics that is causing the querent, the person who's asking the question, to want to move on with their job. The background, fighting. This person is covered in armor in order to protect themselves, but also in a fighting stance. So they have to defend themselves, they have to feel protected, but they also have to be offensive and fight back in order to survive. And these two, you can put these two together and you can say that the politics is what's causing the querent to feel defensive and also feel the need to bite back. And then here with the internal influences, there's people coming together, their colors mixing into one. So perhaps the querent internally, they want to be in a situation at work where they're contributing, where everyone that they work with is working together as a cohesive team. And then externally here, we have an image of bark and bamboo. And for me, what my intuition is saying, wood isn't that flexible, whereas bamboo has more flex and more give to it. So the external influence in that situation, perhaps the teammates that they work with aren't so flexible, that they are more rigid and they're not allowing themselves to work together in order to stop the fighting and in order to stop the politics. And then here, finally, as the solution to the answer of everything, we have the Fool. And traditionally in tarot, the Fool represents that leap of faith, not really knowing what the outcome is going to be. So if the querent here is asking for clarity for whether or not they should move on, this last card here signifies that they should take a leap of faith. But that doesn't mean that they should leave their job. Perhaps you can say, take a leap of faith and try to talk to your teammates in order to try to build that flexibility as a team so that they can work better, more cohesively. And that would make the politics situation at work a little bit better. So as you can see, you can use this technique with any deck as long as there's lots of imagery and symbolism on it. And because of the symbolism aspect, for example, the card that we had with Ouroboros on it, those are easier to read as long as you know some occult or classic symbols. So as you're learning this, you may need to look up certain symbols on Google to understand what they mean. But if you study those symbols, it will help you in your readings to understand what the image is trying to convey. And you can also use this technique in order to learn a deck that you recently got. You've probably read a lot of tips about having to connect with your deck before you start reading it. And this is a way that you can do so. Just one by one, taking a card out, and then connecting the images on the card. So you don't even need 2 cards at once. You can do this 1 card at a time and connect the different images that are on that card. And again, once you get to know your deck and you try to make connections within a single card when you read for someone else or if you read for yourself, certain symbols might pop out to you more than others. That's your brain telling you which symbols are important for the question at hand. And there you have it. Let me know if you have any questions about this technique below. It's called force connections. And if you look that up online, usually they use it with just words, forcing a connection between a list of words. But the way that my professor, Ed, presented it to us was with images. And I feel that way with the symbolism and imagery, you can really connect with your creativity in that way. So go on out there, keep practicing, and become a better card reader. And until next time, I will see you very soon.